Hello, Culture Matters podcast. Wow, I'm excited to introduce you to our guest. Before I do that, here's a quote just for this episode. Adversity is the trial of principle. Without it, a man hardly knows whether he is honest or not. Henry Fielding. Our guest today is a good friend of the Culture Matters podcast, a supporter of Culture Matters for years since I was running around with a gong and some truck nuts. If you're in the know, then you know what that means. They started their career in sales, as far as I know, helping people decide on college or academia. A director of marketing with Kaplan. They one of the top financial service salespeople. Statistically, building a very strong business, helping people with their financial needs, their life goals, their financial goals, and so on and so forth. Today, among that, an author of a handful of books on the subject matter, with their wife Jennifer, actually invests in real estate, wholesaling, flipping, and as of this release, likely there are limited partners out there that are parts of their syndications in and around real estate, whether that be storage and or other commercial opportunities. And so thanks for coming. I don't even think I've said their name yet. Brett Grossman. Oh, not Grossman. Grossman. Good to see you. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Jay. Great to see you again. It's been a minute as we catch up.
It's a long time coming.
Yeah. And I remember you running around with the gong, even though I wasn't even in that office. So.
It's crazy how time flies. And, I'd like to know, what do you believe is some of the elements that have made you a competent and tenured salesperson? If we could start with that, right? Because underneath these businesses is the ability to sell, to influence, to learn, and so on. So what do you think of those elements?
Time, patience, repetition, over and over and over again, right? The amount of no's, no thank you, don't ever come back again, not interested, right? Just, all the negativity, all the stuff, all the letdowns, all that stuff, right? When you compilation of anything that would be the opposite of positive, right, sharpens you over time. So whether it's financial services, insurance, real estate, Kaplan, man, I didn't even realize that you remembered Kaplan. That was way back when. That was the last job I ever had. That was 14 years ago.
Wow.
I sent an email out to everybody and I just said, hey, appreciate you all. It's great working with you here over the years, but I'm out of here. And and that was because I got introduced to network marketing way back. And so network marketing is actually what catapulted my mind and allowed me to transform my thought process, because I had never understood entrepreneurship. I knew I wanted to do so. I knew I was good at sales, but I really just had no idea how to kind of make my way in. And I went after it, right? So I went after that type of business model, just so hungry as a young guy, wanting to figure out how to get better and how to do it on my own. One thing led to another, meaning one type of industry, like multi-level, led to insurance, financial services, which ultimately led to real estate. So there's actually a correlation and a tie.
The multi-level, what was the company, the first product?
It was a company called 5 Links, and they had a video phone. And I answered an ad on Craigslist while sitting in my office on South Broad Street, facing City Hall. I forget the name of that building. And I answered an ad, and this woman in Virginia, she said, it's $4.99. Then you got to buy the phone. And it's like the Jetsons. You plug it into your TV and you can talk to your friends and family around the country. I was like, yeah, that's just like the Jetsons. All right, I'll do it. And I gave the woman $500 over the telephone.
And then what was your next move?
A dentist called me up randomly the next day and said, "Hey, I'll come pick you up at your office and I'll take you to this meeting over in Germantown." And I was like, "No way, man. I'm not getting in a car with some strange." I said, "I'll meet you there." So I went there, and I met some folks that were explaining the opportunity and explaining how it all went down. And uh, I called up all my friends, and I gave everybody a video phone, and then everyone freaking returning them. I was like, "Man, I don't know if this thing works."
Because maybe it was the technology wasn't yet ready to blossom.
I think I actually still have the phone. I kept it in storage. I still have it. I think it was made out of plastic.
Yeah, maybe symbolically represent that in the foyer.
Right? It's funny, right? But here's what happened. About 6 months went by. No, like everybody who signed up either wanted their money back, or just it was a nightmare. But I was like, you know what? I think I could figure this out. About 6 months went by, and I was on what was the before Facebook? What was it called with Tom?
MySpace.
MySpace. So I was on MySpace, and I saw this guy named Mike Lawson, right? And he had on his MySpace, he had his car, and the license plate said ACN pays.
Oh.
So I was like, man, I don't even know what that means. But I knew him from grade school. So I did like a research, and I found out about this other company, and I said, oh my God, this is like a knockoff. This is like an identical type of a company. And I just literally I called him up and I said, hey, listen, I said, I think you're in a company that I'm in, but you're in like a copycat company. And he goes, no. He goes, it's actually the other way around. We've been around for 20 years and they just started a year ago. I was like, oh, okay. So at Kaplan, I said, hey, do me a favor, drive up to Broomall and let's go meet for lunch. And we sat down, and he took out this sheet of paper and he showed me the opportunity. And I looked at him and I said, $4.99, right? And he goes, yep. I gave him $4.99.
Stop.
So I paid for it twice in less than a year. Two different companies.
How, was this? Did you want to be an entrepreneur growing up?
I was not very good in school, not very attentive. Actually, to be quite frank, I very rarely made it there on time, or even made it at all some months. And so, for me, it was just get through it, the pain of just having to show up. I've always had an issue with, I guess, maybe being told what to do and how to do things. And I guess maybe a problem with authority, I guess, is what it boils down to. And I don't know if maybe back then it was because I thought that I knew more than others. I just knew that I didn't want to do what people told me to do because I wanted to do other things. And that it was just my personality, I guess, the makeup of how, I don't know. It's hard to explain. It wasn't like I was a bad kid. I just didn't want to go to school, and I didn't mind working. So I just worked and rarely went to school, but just made it through. You had to have a C average to play football in high school, right? So
What was your first job?
12 years old, diner at Bustleton and Red Line, called the Red Line Diner, as a busboy at 12.
What did that teach you?
Work ethic. I always watched my dad get up at 5 a.m.
Wow.
Every day, right? So I always watched my dad get up real super early. So, when it came time to me turning 12, he's like, you're going to go get a job. So, we had always gone to that diner. And I guess I don't really remember exactly how it went down, but I just remember maybe going there on a Friday night with my parents, my sister. And then the next day I was working there at Saturday morning at like 6 a.m. carrying a bus pan. Yeah. So, wads of $1 bills coming home by 4 p.m., on a Saturday. So
did you feel rich?
As a kid? Yeah. Yeah. Right. Cause you had your own money.
That's like 6th grade. That's big money.
Yeah. Yep. Did that for a while.
Really?
Yeah. Just quit yesterday, actually. It's been so good.
Where was the leap between I don't know, what do you call that? A TV? What was that? A radio, TV? What was that called?
Video phone?
Video phone. Okay. What was the leap between the video phone and financial services? So that's insurance, because you were you've been doing that for many years and very successful at it. What was that leap? What did that
It,
look like?
it was the discipline, right? So it was the discipline. And again, the mindset shift where I realized that, first of all, not everybody wanted to get rich and make money. So, right. So I was very driven by the fact that nice things and speaking in front of the room. I was taught very early that, the individual at the front of the room teaching everyone is learning exponentially,
Mm.
more so than the people listening. So it was resonating with me, and I was learning very quickly, very rapidly, because at the very beginning, I was kind of thrusted into, back then it was kind of, the line, the ballrooms at hotels, and then, speaking in an arena in front of 20,000 plus people, right? And so it became this thing, I was addicted to the ability to level up my speaking abilities, my ability to negotiate, my ability to do sales. And it further built, you know what it did? It built my confidence that
Mm.
I never had in my 20s. I always knew that I could do good things, but I never had a kind of like a track to run on.
Was it Greg Schwartz that we met through originally that first time at Starbucks?
Who?
Good. I'm glad this is recorded. No, like, didn't we meet the first time you had a meeting with Greg? It
Greg.
was just at Starbucks. You remember the first time we met in person? Wasn't that at Starbucks?
Yes.
Yeah, you had a meeting with Greg.
Yeah. Which one was
And then
Greg?
I was there too. He's still around. He was in he was doing title work, and then he went over to Keller Williams, actually. He's
Okay.
gonna be on the show soon.
Nice.
Greg Schwartz. Yeah.
Yeah. And right. Okay.
20, 2000, what, 17.
Or maybe 16, right? Because then you and I got together. We
Just
did a bunch of videos.
popped in
At the
my
hotel,
mind.
we did a video.
Yeah. Do you think we were on to something back then with the videos, or was that just
Listen, I was driving around in 2015 with with a cell phone in my car making motivational videos, and everybody was just like, "Oh my God, you shouldn't be making the videos while driving." And it's like, dude, I get that, but we were doing it. I think we were doing it way before anybody else was doing it.
so you got a lot of flack for that?
Driving and making videos. I'm like, you should see me now.
Uh, what were some of the elements you made you successful at your business as it relates to curating relationships, cultivating relationships?
Yeah, well, so I learned through the network marketing that it wasn't about my efforts, right? Because in the beginning, it was all about me, and how many sales and what could I do. Then it became, okay, no, Brett, you got to learn to shift that it has to be in investing in others. And so you have to be able to teach others how to duplicate what you're doing. And right, the more people that I could invest in, the more people I could teach, the more people I could help. Ultimately, we began to reap those rewards, right? Because if it's not about the financial, if you're not chasing the financial end game, but you're chasing after how many people can I make an impact, ultimately one is going to catch up with the other.
Hmm.
And so, but it takes time, right? It takes time to cultivate that and understand that and learn that. If you've never done it, it's like anything else. If you've never done it before. So I really needed to self-invest. I really needed to start reading books and listening to things, on YouTube back then, right? It's just things that I just really needed to start to do in order to get me to become the person that I needed to become in order to be a leader that I wanted to be. And so, it took time. It took time for sure, to be able to express that to others and have others believe in me, right? It takes a lot to really get a tribe of individual, right? Culture matters.
Yeah.
It takes time to cultivate that, especially when you're young and you're new, to get people to have that belief level in you. Like, hey, I'm going this way. Who's coming with me? And people begin to follow.
Yeah, I think today's the day I quit.
Yeah.
How long did it take to get momentum?
Uh, in that business model, it took probably a few months, and then like after the first year, and then it caught fire. And then it didn't happen out of the gate. With insurance, it happened right away
Really?
because I had spent 3 years working on myself, that when I found insurance and financial services, I was so well equipped on how to lead others. I just needed to go out and verify it myself. So with through validation and going out and being my own personal producer, I then was able to again show, teach, educate, come along. Like literally come get in my car. I'll take you with me on an appointment. You sit at the table, just kind of watch how it goes.
And you did that with your mentees?
I did that. Yep.
What was their response?
Yeah. I mean, everybody just basically wound up either if they didn't have a license, getting a license and coming on board, or if they were already licensed, getting contracted and then starting to do what we were doing. So it happened.
Because you were showing them how to do it physically, them watching you.
Physically watching me, and then we would put together calls on Wednesday nights or Monday evenings. I forget what day of the week it was that we would do that. And we would do like a mentorship thing on a Saturday. So there was always things that we wanted to implement. Then we would hold conferences and things of that nature. And this is traditional business. This is now, we are no longer in the network marketing or the multi-level space. This is in traditional business. Everybody had, almost like their own individual business, a business within a business, because right, you could set it up under an LLC and get contracted directly with these insurance carriers and do it that way.
What type of work ethic would you say it took to
It's
be successful?
I swear to you, it's no different than what I was doing in the network marketing space. Like you literally had to just go through the nose. You had to make 100 calls, 200 calls. You had to make the text messages, the calls. You had to deal with rejection. You had to schedule in tight. You had to deal with the no shows. Right back then, it was you could drive an hour, 2 hours to someone's home, and they weren't even there, and you just talked to them the night before. So you really had to have some really thick skin, a bulletproof mindset.
What products are we talking about here? What solutions, right?
Yeah.
What
So
problems were you solving?
yeah. So back then it was right. Everybody has a 401k, and so we were showing them alternatives, tax-free alternatives. Right. Somebody built up a certain cash account in a 401k. We could show them an equal amount in an index product. The difference is what you're going to pay in tax on your 401k and what it's going to look like over here tax-free. There's a lot more that's going to take you a lot further based on tax implications and things of that nature. Mortgage protection. So people who just bought a brand new home or did a refinance, we would show them how to take a life insurance product and use that in the event, right? You have Bob and Mary, and maybe Bob doesn't make it home from work one night, but they just bought a $400,000 house. At least Mary and the kids are going to be okay, right? The house is going to be paid off because of an insurance product.
So I'm looking at my life insurance as mortgage protection because if I'm dead, it'll be paid.
Yeah, exactly right. Right. If the face amount is equal to what you owe on the house, yes, it'll pay it off. I think probably the more important thing that has come along over the years is the triggers, meaning the life insurance that actually pays you while you're alive. Most people think that
Really?
life insurance only works when you die, and that's just the cheap insurance is really what that is. You really want the insurance that, right, statistically speaking, right, you're more likely to actually have something happen to you, right? Heart attack, stroke, cancer, car accident, just something crazy out of the blue, right? We've all had some crazy stuff happen out of the blue. You want something that's going to pay you while you're alive, because if you're in a hospital, how are you paying the bills? Right.
You're
So,
not.
huh?
You're not. I'm laughing because, of course, as our culture becomes more self-centered, we sell that. This is me, not you. We got to sell that personal life insurance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. For sure.
not enough people were buying when it was just about their loved ones.
Yeah.
It's
Look,
the culture changes, so we have to adopt. We have to adopt or address the problems as we see them, right?
yes, yes, 100%. And look, the reality is no one's getting out of here alive. So, you know what I mean? And with with what's happened in the world here over the last few
Yeah.
years, you see more young people pass away at younger ages. It's very unfortunate, but we're in a society now where literally, like you're here one day and then you hear about somebody who's gone the next.
I'm a huge fan of life insurance. It's what it's like if my significant other goes, I'm in the money. If
Yeah.
I go, I'm in the money. So,
Yeah. My wife
um,
knows I'm worth more dead than I am alive, probably at this point.
um, the work ethic though, up early, bed late. What did that look like?
Yeah. And it's still true today. I like to be up at 5 a.m. and you can get a lot done between 5 a.m. and 8 a.m. So whether that's meditation, stretching, reading a book, working out, those little things that you do to prepare yourself for what the day's obstacles are going to throw at you is probably more important than the obstacles that are getting thrown at you. And so it's just so important to start early. You don't always have to burn the midnight oil. I personally, as I'm getting older, I like to go to bed a little bit earlier, because I know I'm getting up earlier.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that you can accomplish between that time frame. And sometimes, between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m., sometimes you may not be that productive if you're waking up at 7. If you're waking up at 7 and then you're going to the gym at 8, and then you're out of the gym at 9:30, then you
You
come
missed your
home, then you
whole.
take a shower, then you eat. Next thing you know, it's 11 a.m. and you haven't done jack.
I don't think people go to the gym if they get up at 7. I haven't met those people unless they're retired.
Yeah,
I just thought, right? Because if
5
you're
a.m.
working, you got to get to work.
Yeah, yeah. And the colder out it is, the worse it is. But the worse it is, the better it is. Why? Because it's like a cold plunge. You have to go through that pain. And anything you do that first couple hours in the morning, pain wise, that you put yourself through, that adversity, nothing that gets thrown at you throughout the day will be equally as harmful to you mentally as it was to do that cold plunge, to walk outside when it's 0 degrees out here in Pennsylvania. It's freezing in the 5 a.m.
So what's 5 to 8 look like? What's that? 3 hours.
So that's where that stuff gets done, right? That's the gym for me. Occasionally I'll get my reading in then. If not, I do it at night. Um, that's where I eat, right? And I take that, either that cold plunge or that cold shower, and then get ready to start my day. So I'm ready to rock and roll by 7:38 a.m.
And you really do those cold showers.
I love it. Yeah.
And is that something you ever take breaks from, or you've been doing it for years? Or are
So
there seasonalities?
I actually just started experimenting with that in the summertime because I had a little bit of an injury. And so I was like, you know what? I see everybody doing it. So I went to Wawa and I
Oh,
bought 14 bags of ice and threw 4 bags in, ice cold water, filled my tub up to the top, hopped in up to my neck. And around the 5th minute, dunked down, came back up, dunked down, came back up, sat in for another minute. So I was right around the 6 to 7 minute mark, came back out. I felt phenomenal. I mean, I had so much. I was like, I'm doing this forever.
wow. Yeah, the cold showers just aren't that cold here in Florida.
Yeah.
It's like a lukewarm,
Listen,
but you do
you can
feel
buy
better.
bags of ice.
Ah, he's got me. He's got me, guys. Yeah, they do sell ice here.
Don't tell me the ocean water in December in Florida is still 75 degrees. I know it's not. I know
that's
that water's got to be around 50.
I'd say the cold showers are better in Pittsburgh, but they're okay in Florida. But
Yeah.
that doesn't mean they're not better than those hot 20-minute. How much time you waste going in the shower? I've wasted being in the shower 20 minutes just thinking and crying to my life
Yeah.
versus 5 minutes or like 4 going in the cold shower. You get all that time back because you're not hanging out in there for 25 minutes.
No, no, no. And you can ease it. You can ease into it. You can start warm and then go to the cold if you wanted to. I prefer starting cold, and
It really wakes you up.
you'll be energized. You'll get that 3. You won't need coffee in the morning. I promise you that. Not for a good 3-4 hours. I promise you that. You will not need coffee. That and a vitamin B, you're good.
So what was the what was it for you? When did it hit you that diversifying in the real estate class as an asset? When did that become you've got kids, they're getting older. You've been, tenured in a profession for a long time. Yeah. When did it hit you?
So, what's interesting about that question is 2 years ago. So today is December 14th, 2023. And it was December 14th, 2021. I
Wow,
was
really?
on, literally, I was on, came back in my memories. I was on my way back from Arizona, where I had just learned about what I was going to be doing in the real estate world. Now, mind you, I was still cranking. We still had a team of people going out there and writing business and doing seminars, and we were still teaching and coaching. And I mean, we're at the top. I mean, it's like, hey, let's get ready for the last fourth quarter here of 2021. And then this is more of a personal story. My wife had been experiencing, she had been not feeling self-fulfilled in her career. She had been doing medical sales and medical device sales and a few other things. She has a knack. She is an expert. She has an eye for fashion, interior design, staging. If you even go to my Facebook page, you'll see our latest flip that we did. She took an old colonial and restored it back to its original condition and then some. And so, right. So we knew that she had this gift. Now, me, I all I know about real estate, right, is buying and selling a house. From a career standpoint, zero knowledge, other than the mortgage protection industry and showing people that direction. And so, behind her back, I said to myself, what could we do together that I could help pull her out of this feeling of it's almost like a slump, right? And we all get them, right? How can I help her get out of this and something we can do together? Now, over the years, I've had lenders recruit me to come and work for them. I've had agents recruit me to come and be an agent. I've been exposed. I have a friend who owns a land development company. I've been exposed to the real estate industry based on my network and circle of friends. I'd say 90% of them are actually in real estate in some way, shape, or form. It's ironic, but I just wouldn't do it. I was just like, look, I'm good. I got financial services. It treats us well. We're blessed. I'm very thankful and grateful for the industry, but I don't love it. I love what it does for us, if that makes sense. So I was like, okay, I'm not in love with what I do. I'm in love with what it gets us. Maybe real estate is something that we can do together. So I literally just went on to YouTube and I typed in something along the lines of getting started in real estate. What's a barrier to entry? And one of the first things that popped up was wholesaling. And I was like, what's wholesaling? So I watched a YouTube video of some guy in Vegas with like purple hair. I forgot what his name was. Then I watched another wholesale video. This guy's name was Jerry Norton. So I watched that. And then, artificial intelligence kicks in. And then and then I actually went to Amazon and I typed in wholesaling real estate. And a bunch of books came up. So I ordered 2 books. I read the books. I took 15 pages of notes so that I was absorbing it. And then don't you know, artificial intelligence clicks in and this thing pops up on Facebook about buying a franchise for wholesaling real estate. Now, what's interesting, we were just joking about this the other night with my son and my wife. I had always wanted to buy some kind of a franchise, always. I don't know why. I think I had like a second uncle who used to own like some franchising company out in like Maple Shade, New Jersey back in the day. And I think I went to him for a job when I was 16. He was like, no, you're too young. But ever since then, I always had like this thing in the back of my head, one day I'm going to buy a franchise. So I did. So I said, look, I came to her, I said, Jen, I said, I've been doing a lot of research. I'm actually on the 3rd interview with this company. They're interviewing me to find out if I'm going to buy their franchise. And I said, I want you to get on this call. Next thing you know, we're on our way to Arizona, right? We buy this franchise for wholesaling real estate. We go to this week long to learn how to do it. And here's the good and the bad of just this one little thing right here. The good is it was an introduction to the real estate world with a low barrier to entry, right? The franchise cost $100,000. Okay. I was going to spend $100,000 on banner ads, on TV ads, on marketing, on, digital marketing, on leads. Why? Because I just spent the last 12 years of my life in that world paying for my own marketing, financial services. There is basically, just so you know, there's a direct correlation between the financial services, life insurance agents, and real estate agents and the real estate world. Now, real estate has a lot more wiggle room, but so does insurance, right? Because you do annuities, you could do, life insurance, you could do tax-free retirement planning, right? You could do debt elimination, right? You could do all that stuff. So here's the good and the bad, but behind buying a franchise and something like that, real quick. Number one, the good is it got me into that world, and I wouldn't be sitting where I am today, 2 years later, knowing what I know and accomplishing what we've accomplished. So I'm very grateful and very thankful. But like a McDonald's franchise, here's what I got. I got the burger and the bun. They didn't tell me about the ketchup, the mustard. They didn't tell me about the temperature to cook the burger. They didn't tell me about, they didn't even tell me that I could put fries with the burger, or that they had chicken sandwiches, or that you could even give it to somebody through a drive-through. That's the analogy I can give you behind buying a real estate franchise and a McDonald's franchise, right? So, it is what it is. But here's the good news about that, is that you get an opportunity to fail forward. Every day we got a little bit better by having conversations with agents, investors, sellers. So we got better. And here's what I understood, because your question was, what's the correlation? How did you go from financial services to real estate? All I did was take those same principles and apply them to real estate and just went to work. And it was around this time of the year when I started making these calls, because I got leads from buying the franchise, and they were all agent leads, which is what we paid for, about 50,000 of them. We had a piece of technology, you press a button, and the button would send out a text to 15 agents every 15 minutes. Hey, Jay, looking for an off-market property. Do you have anything in the office? Some say yes, some say no, some say stop, some say not right now. Okay. Anybody who gave a
realtor that says stop, that's kind of funny. Stop it. Yeah, don't buy, don't give me business.
Yeah.
That's funny to me.
You mean like stop, like just for today, or like stop in general?
Just like stop trying to buy, like, sorry, that's really funny for a real estate professional to say stop to an inquiry about buying a house, don't you think?
We'd probably have to do a different podcast for the work ethic, the mindset, and the overall competence of 90% of real estate agents and investors. It's a totally different podcast, I promise you.
I just can't imagine. Just stop. Will you stop?
Stop. Okay, so here's what I realized about December of 2021. The ones that were positive, I pick up the phone and call. Hey, Jay, I just sent you a text message. Thought it's just more professional to give you a call on the phone. What do you have? And the next thing I know, I was starting to realize that only Jay and I were the only ones working around Christmas.
Wow.
But that is where you find momentum.
Yeah, I just want to say, between now and Christmas, I'm definitely going to record, or right after Christmas, somewhere around 35 podcasts.
Listen, the next 12 business days,
it's crazy.
Is that what's left in the month? 12 business days, not days, but actually.
Business days? I don't know. You know better than me.
I'd say that the next 12, 13 business days, if anybody's listening to this podcast today and they're taking anything away from this, here's what I'll share with you about December 14, 2023. The next 12, 13, 14 business days, whatever's left in the month, is what will dictate your first quarter in 2024. Because what you do, your activity, the connections you make, the sales you make, the goals you write out, what you do in the next 12 to 13 days will literally set the tone for January, February, March. And what are most people doing? They're at the King of Prussia Mall. They're watching, they're watching, right? Because college basketball is on. They're watching college basketball. They're doing this, they're doing that. They're doing everything. Why? Because they go, well, I worked really, really hard during the last fourth quarter, but from Thanksgiving to the New Year, they go on autopilot. It's crazy.
It's a crock.
It's crazy. So that's my good and bad behind buying a franchise in real estate.
So you're sending these, I got more questions on that. You're sending these messages out. And what was it like psychologically to be at square one again, not in your core competencies, but in context?
It was rejuvenating and it was exciting because I'd been doing the same thing. So I was in learning mode, sponge mode. How much can I learn? How fast can I learn it? Then how fast can I take what I'm learning and implement it and take action on it? It was like everything that I have learned to do up until this point had prepared me for that moment.
Wow. What was it like to sign the first deal?
It was exciting. Actually, the first deal we did, we actually lost. It was out in Oxford, PA. I'll never forget it. It had a septic and I didn't know anything, right? I didn't even know about septic or
wow. Yeah, that has to do with poop.
Yeah. Yeah. So we ended up losing that one. And then the second one we got under contract, I'll never forget. It was on Forest Ave by Fox Chase in Northeast Philly. And I put it into a Facebook group. And this guy sent me a private message. And I wound up selling it to him and his two partners. And I still have a relationship with them till this day. They still buy properties. He actually just gave me a piece of land that he has, that he wants me to actually market for him. And so, yeah, the first one was pretty cool. Yeah, we made 5,000 on that one.
Now, let me get this straight. A percentage of them, you and your wife may fix up and sell. A percentage are opportunity for other types of investors.
Well,
so that's the flow of business.
Yeah, we have a buy box, and our buy box is very simple. We just cherry pick what we see in Montgomery County.
And that would be for the design, the refurbishment piece.
Yep, for our renos.
Is going to get involved with.
Yeah.
And so there's an advantage to profit on the buy, as in buy it at the right price. There's a margin in there to refurbish, rehab.
Yeah.
And then sell on the market.
Exactly. Yeah. Like for instance, our multifamily, we will only take it under contract, multifamily properties, at 30% under market.
And the way that's possible is because of the wholesaling off-market opportunity deal flow.
Off-market opportunity deal flow / scope of work, after repair value, holding costs, closing costs, another set of closing costs on the way back out after it's been flipped, right? So you have two sets. So we take everything into consideration. I can't always take into consideration if somebody's getting private money or hard money or whatever that looks like. But we take into account all factors, and then we'll make an offer below the value, because we know that our investors need to get in and do a job and then get out and then make a profit so that they come back to us again for more. So we're the eyes and ears for them.
And is there a vision at all for long-term hold?
Yeah. And so for us, we prefer multifamily in the state of Florida.
Why?
It is depreciating tremendously. It's great. I have some boots on the ground and some friends there, and so we're able to find some really good deals. It's just right. It's all about your network, and we're able to find some really good deals. When it comes to the flips, again, we like to stay more localized. And then we personally, for our business, we cover from Philly to Harrisburg, out to Central PA, like Susquehanna, out to Allentown, like a big square in the middle of the state of PA. And we do the same thing in New Jersey, Central and South Jersey. We do a big square in the middle of the state. We don't go as far as North Jersey, On occasion, it's got to be a really great deal. And then we'll do it all. We'll do flips, holds, multifamily, portfolios. We did a ton of portfolio business over the last 2 years. And now we're really getting into the industrial side of land development, having some connections with a friend of mine. And then personally, I'm going to be raising money to buy multifamily apartment buildings. And also what's going to be my main focus is how many units can I get to in storage units in 1 year. I want to see if I can get to 1,000.
What makes storage so appealing?
Less hassle, less maintenance, not as much overhead, no tenants. Well, you have tenants, but you don't have tenants like, hey, my plumbing broke, right? Or my electric. It rained for 3 days and my roof collapsed. You know what I mean? So we don't have, I lost my key.
Ha! What advice do you have for those listening that they dream of being real estate investors?
I just, you have to start, right? So there's so much regret in thinking about something and then not taking action and then looking back a few years later and going, missed the boat. Don't live in that pain of regret. There's two types of pain, right? Right? You're going to go through the pain of success and go through, right, the pain. And then there's the pain of regret. You don't want to have the pain of regret. So you just start, right? You just put one foot in front of the other. You get connected. You start. I didn't know anything about real estate. You get on YouTube. You start educating yourself. You buy the books. You start educating yourself. You go to meetings where there's networking meetings. Start educating yourself. Get linked up with people who are doing things in an arena that you want to be in. And then naturally, you're going to start walking and talking and doing the things that they're doing.
What do you say to the people listening to this that are saying, wait, real estate, look at interest rates. There's no inventory. Everybody's running out of the business. All my peers, and if they're in real estate, right, they're leaving the business. Now is the worst time to buy real estate, buy investments.
Yeah, I would say maybe those same agents that are leaving the business are the same ones who told me stop. Look, apparently interest rates are going to come down. Look, you don't know you can trust, right? But the interest rates are supposed to come down 4 times. Apparently they just came down today, right? In 12, 14, 23, they came down today. Okay, so they're going to be coming down. We're coming up on an election year. So there's going to be all this kind of funny business that's going to be happening. Interest rates have been extremely high, but yet people are still buying, not at the rapid pace that they were, but from an investor standpoint, they're still buying. Maybe not like they were last year, but it would be like saying interest rates are really high, no one's buying. Really, no one? Like there's how many people on planet Earth? No one's buying. There's still people buying. Why? Because we have closings coming. So people are obviously still buying. When it comes to inventory, am I getting the same kind of inventory that I was getting this time last year? And November, December of last year, we were cranking, right? Because everybody wants to get the deals in for the tax benefits by the end of the year. Here's what I'll share with you. We may not be getting the same 15, 20 deals a week like we were getting, but we're still getting 7, 10 deals a week, 5 deals a week, but we're still getting deals. It's not like we're getting 0. So we're still seeing deals. Now we turn away more than we take because we evaluate a deal the same way we would as if we were buying it ourselves. Now, I personally don't buy in Cobb's Creek in 19143 in West Philly, but there are investors, that's their jam. That's where they like to buy. So we find those properties, we evaluate it the same way we would if we were going to buy it and flip it. And if the deal makes sense, then we put a small fee on and then we give it over to them. So I don't think that you can let the things that you can't control the way that you're running your business. You can only control the controllables. So the things that you can control are still, how many calls can you make? How many people can you network with? Why? Because I got to find the deals. If we're going through a period, which we did back in October, where all of a sudden we started to feel like, oh my God, have our deals been dropping? And I noticed it right away. I was like, wait a second, these deals are not coming in the way they were. And actually, no, it was September because we always knew that during the summertime, it kind of, you know what I mean? Like but it was September. It was like mid-September. That's what it was. And I was like, Jen, something's not right. Something's not right. So then I just sat down one night and I literally went back through my phone for a year and went into every text message that I had had a conversation. Hey, Jay, do you have anything? Hey, Bob, do you know anything in Allentown? You got any multifamily? Know anyone who wants to sell a portfolio? And I just went, and then the next day we had 560, and then the next day after, and then that's how, and then sometimes you just have to remind people, hey, I'm still over here. I'm still over here. I'm still working. And so, oh, look at that. I went like that, and like the hand.
So it's really the work ethic.
Yeah. No one's going to knock on your door and be like, hey, you, I mean, it happens occasionally. Like people call us now and they're like, hey, I've got this deal. But no one is ever going to, because I think you have a lot of real estate agents who probably follow your podcast based on previous experience and what you, how you would teach. Like no one is, not today, not yesterday, and not tomorrow. It's very rare that someone's ever going to go, oh, you're a real estate agent? Let me go ahead and I thought of you. I'm going to send you everything I have. You have to go out there and tell people. You have to let people know what you're doing, that you're working. And then a lot of times you have to show it. Social media is great for that. To be able to advertise your work and advertise your brand and advertise who you are, no one is going to know unless you tell them. And then it's, you have to do a little bit more than just tell them. You have to show them your work. And it's going to take time when you're starting off brand new. But that, you know, look, unless there's a Cold War and right, and the market tanks. When I say tanks, I mean tanks, meaning hell freezes over. You're gonna have a lot more to worry about than, you know, who's buying a house.
What are you most excited about? 24, 25, 26?
Raising money in syndication, starting a fund, teaching other people how to invest in real estate to make passive income. Because over the last 2 years, the only people that I've been teaching is myself and my wife. We've been teaching each other, kind of going through this. And so because I've spent so many years investing in others, I kind of got away with that, got away from that type of mentorship. And so I'm excited about getting back into that. And I haven't made videos in years, man. Like this podcast that we're doing, when this thing goes on the internet, it'll probably be the first thing that I've had my face in 2 years.
Wow.
So that'll be cool. I'm actually doing one next Tuesday at this place called Revamp down in Delaware County. Yeah. So they had asked me to come down there and be a guest. So that'll be cool. So, you know, it all starts with one little step, right? You have to put one foot in front of the other. So it's starting here with you today, then another one on Tuesday. And then it's like, okay, why don't we start putting together some videos? Why don't we start doing some things that we got away from over the years and then put ourselves back in front of the camera and get ourselves out there.
What's one thing you want our audience to take away from this conversation?
Yeah, just don't let the things that you can't control how you work your business, control how you raise a family, control how you do anything, right? There's certain circumstances that just, if you literally, not to keep saying it, but if you have no control over it, don't obsess over it. Don't let it take over. And then all of a sudden you're sitting around waiting for things to happen, waiting for the market to change, right? Waiting for things to get better, whatever that means, get better, right? You know, waiting for more houses to go up for sale. So waiting to find more investors. There's investors out there. I promise you, they're out there. They're everywhere. And so, right, we all have Facebook, or the majority of us have Facebook and Instagram. We all have direct message. And inside that direct message is a microphone. You reach out, you say hello, you make an introduction, and then make that microphone your friend. So you make it more personal. And that's how you build relationships in today's world. It's not always done over the phone anymore. And it's certainly not done through a text message. It's a good opener, but then you got to get on the phone. You got to get on a microphone. You have to be able to make things personal so people can hear the tonality of your voice. I think that going out there and doing just these little things in that 5 a.m. club, and then these little things, no matter what your widget is, you should be able to grow and scale your business.